Mujebale. My name is Bani Kibuka, and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Welcome to the Ugandan Boy Talk Show with your boy Bani Kibuka. I'm so super excited, super excited. So I rarely do this. I have not been doing it, but all of a sudden, I came up with an idea. Like, what if every episode before I drop it, I make like a preview or like an introduction of what's going on, and that will give me an opportunity to interact with you, and you guys get to hear about my voice for a little bit before I take you into these episodes or these interviews that I do with people, and yeah, that's the whole point. I'm gonna start doing this on every episode. So at every episode you hear my voice, I'll start talking about what's going on with the podcast, a little bit of like information into the podcast or information about the podcast, and then later on I will walk you into the interview that I record or like these guests that I bring on the podcast. But anyway, yeah, that's why I'm recording this, and that's why this is unusual. So I'm gonna tweak a little things to see what's good and what people like. So you're gonna start hearing my voice, and at the beginning I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. I thought of like how I've been doing it is like by cutting a section of the interview and use it as my introduction. But then I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna use that as me just coming here to talk about, because there's sometimes I want to share some things with you guys on the podcast, but then when I pre-record these interviews, then I bring them later on. And there's some events that happen throughout the week that I would love to share on the podcast when I release this podcast. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. I want to thank everybody who has been with me, been with this podcast ever since we started, like growing together and just watching everything how it plays out. My listeners, I really love you guys, and thanks for the support, the encouragement. People who reach out once in a while, like, "Hey, Bonnie, I really like your podcast. I pick this out of your podcast." Yeah, that's the whole reason I did it, is for people to pick out some things. And recently, one of the person, actually, like yesterday, one of my friends, Rina, texted me and she was like, "Hey, I love listening to those stories because when I listen to people's struggles, it helps me to think about the opportunities I have and how blessed I am." And those are some of the things I was thinking about when I was making this podcast. It's like I want to bring people and share their journey, their stories, and what they're going through. And sometimes when people listen to these stories, it helps them to revisit themselves. Like you check on yourself, and but also knowing that there are other people around the world that are going through something you're going through, or the people who are going through like different stories. And that's why I have different stories. My podcast is like here and there, and it's just a lifestyle. Sometimes we're going to just come here and just laugh, talk about different things, but for the main goal is I want somebody to pick out something to help him or her in their lives, and that's why I do it. And that's what leads me into the introduction of today's episode 91. My guest today that I host, he talks about his struggles. Like he talks about his life, and he talks about his ghetto life. He was born in the ghetto and walking through the journey. Most of you people, I don't know what your definition of ghetto will be, but you know the life in the ghetto is not an easy life. It is loss of lives, it's different behaviors. But when somebody grows through the ghetto and becomes a successful person, or even though they're not like super successful, but they come out to be responsible citizens, like that's a good thing. So in today's episode I host this guy who grew up in the ghetto, and he talks about his life. He does music. He also talks about his music journey. He's a humble guy. I've never seen anybody that humble, and so I appreciate having this guy on the podcast, and I can't wait for you guys to tune in and listen to this podcast. So yeah, let's hear my friend or my guest and enjoy this recording. Thank you very much. What's up, Derek?
I'm good, brother.
I didn't even know your name was Derek. You use like me wallet music.
Yeah, me white music is the name I use as an artist.
Okay.
Yeah, but the original name's Derrick.
Derek. Yeah, welcome to my podcast, brother.
Thank you so much for having me here today as well.
Yeah, that's a nice studio right there.
Yeah, this is where I'm planning like to also start making my podcast as well.
Okay. Yeah. You got the equipment, so it won't be that bad. And you have all like the soundproof and all that. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
I'm trying to make it up.
yeah,
Everything to up. There is still there is much needed, but I know with God, I will take everything step by step.
that's for sure. And that's the same way I started. Like I didn't have all I mean, I know you can't see it from this angle, but when you see my podcast, you see a different angle. But like to see everything I have in the room, I didn't start with that. I was telling somebody when I first recorded my first episode, I had like my I used my phone. Like I didn't have a microphone or anything. Like, I just recorded my voice and just a podcast like that. But like with time, step by step, you buy one thing. But at least you have actually something to start with. So it won't be hard. But I know what you mean, like with God, just step by step. It will come to place. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, and I'm so excited. I've been watching and listening to your podcast, going through the stories of people, your stories, and they are interesting. How some of the people out there in your country, because you were once a Ugandan,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it to US. So I've always learned so much from the conversation. As you can see the flag out there,
I was about to mention that. I was about to mention the flag in the background.
that keeps me motivated.
Yeah.
Because I have to take it step by step. As you know,
Mm-hmm.
it keeps me motivated because I love that country so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody, all of us, like when we're in Uganda, when we're younger, we look up to the United States, and I mean, there's a lot of opportunities in the US, and anybody would pray to get to the United States to achieve their dreams. And like you've said, you've had my story on here, and I was a young boy in Uganda. I wanted to go to the US to achieve my dreams to be an airplane mechanic and work on airplanes, and that's what I wanted to. And there's a lot of people who chase different dreams. Like it could be music, and you're like, hey, I want to do my music. I want to be able to produce my songs in the US, which that's will be your dream, and it will come to happen. Just keep pushing, keep having your goal, and just don't take your eyes off the dream. Just no matter what situations you go through, like it's not gonna be easy. Like I'm not gonna say, hey, it's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna take time, and sometimes you're gonna feel like you're gonna give up, or sometimes you feel like it's not gonna happen, and but you just gotta keep going. And I'm glad that you have that flag there to remind you of your goal and like what you want to do.
Yeah, I've been doing music, but later I was like, I've been doing music, but I've faced some challenges, and like they led to my love for music to slow down.
Mm,
But music is something which I love so much, and I can't leave it. So days back, Swangs Avenue came up with a program whereby we had to go to Swangs Avenue and do an internship for about a month.
mhm,
So at Swangs Avenue, and there were bits, many challenges I faced when I joined Swangs Avenue, of where I saw many things which they do, and for us we do and we don't do it right.
mhm,
Some of us, like here in Uganda, the artists just come up, the producers stand up one day and he says, I'm the producer, I'm the
mhm,
video director, and
mhm.
which is very wrong. A month back, I shot my video with the director,
Okay.
but unfortunately, he lost my footage and
Mm.
he wanted me to pay him all his money.
When he doesn't have your video.
Yeah.
That is not that's not right. That's not right at all.
So I told him, I'm going to pay your money because I wanted something good. Whenever I do music, I do something good so that it suits for everybody. Let it be in Uganda, let it
Mm-hmm.
be out of the country. because I had a song called Tebamain to Saba, and it was playing on almost everywhere in Africa. It played on Trace Music,
Yeah.
sometimes on MTV base. So I wanted to do something good,
Yeah.
better than the one which I had.
Yeah.
So I paid the guy, and I paid, at first I paid 700, then the balance was 200.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I'll give you your balance when the video is done. So he called us to come and check on the video, but reaching there, it's not what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
because there was some footage of drone shots missing. So I told him there are some shots missing, and the way you have edited the video is not the way I wanted it. It is not
Right.
look good,
Yeah.
and people will not really do welcome it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So
But
the
mm-hmm.
guy replied to me saying that we always do make bad and good videos.
Yeah.
Uh, and that thing didn't treat me well. I felt like, did he decide to do me a bad video?
You paid a lot of money for that. You paid him money. It's not like something he was doing for free, you know? Like you get a yeah, and I'm glad you did that. Like you stood up for yourself. You're like, hey, I know the quality of where I want to get to. You know, some people would settle for something like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take that. But like when you know what quality you're looking for, where you want to go, you don't want to settle for something that's not doesn't make you happy. You want to do something that makes you happy, and then you know it's gonna make your fans happy too.
So I told him that, can you help? I told him, can you help us and give us the footage you have so that we ourselves do the editing ourselves. So he said that to give you the footage, you have to first pay my balance of
Mm.
200.
Yeah.
Then I looked for the money, the 200. We paid him all his amount, and he gave us the footage on the external. But
Mm-hmm.
reaching here, he had maybe did something with the footage, and the footage was not playing on here in our computer and in Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
I just felt like giving up, but with time, I met some people out there. They told me, people have been always asking me, when is the video? Because they
Mm-hmm.
took a look at the behind the scenes of which I edited using my phone. So everybody was eager to see what is really coming out. So when he gave us the footage, it did not work out. And I was like, maybe this is not made for me.
Mm.
So I was quite depressed and giving up. But then that's when I went across on the internet, and I saw Swangs Avenue, like having a program running, and there was something like live production, the
Mm-hmm.
video production. So I decided to visit Swangs Avenue, and when we reached there, they told us the program was starting. We went there on Sunday, and the program was starting on Monday. So they told us how it's going to be running, and they asked for 2 million for 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and they wanted to pay half of the money on the first day, which is 1 million.
Okay.
So I just freeze that. At that point,
Uh,
I freeze because
you didn't have 1 million.
yeah, I didn't have the million at spot, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to join Banks Avenue because I've
Okay.
been following them for all this time long. How they have built up their things,
Mm-hmm.
what they have been doing. So they are also a great inspiration to me.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say I've seen a few pictures on your Instagram with Swangs Avenue, like a few things that you've posted on there with them. Yeah, but before I'm glad that you shared this story. I really like people like you who just come up and just go deep into it. And like you mentioned, and now you mentioned like you were giving up on music, and you were going in details to tell us or share with us the reasons why you feel like you were gonna give up, because the producer, was gonna steal your money and didn't make the video. Now you try to go to Swangs Avenue. It's an opportunity for you to go at least achieve your dream. But then they ask for 1 million, 2 millions, which you didn't have. I could see how all those could be like challenging, and in affecting your dream in music. And but I was gonna say before, just on this time, I was gonna ask you like, where are you from? Where were you born? Tell us about yourself and your name.
Well, sorry, my name, I'm Derrick Bwebale.
Okay.
I'm from Kasubi, Kawala, but right now I'm in Chengera. This is where this studio is. This is where we work from. My producer has just left gone somewhere, but this is where we work from. I grew up from Kasubi,
Okay.
and I'm 21 years now.
Nice. I actually know Kasubi because I grew up in Wakiso and we used to drive to go through Kasubi every day, like from when you're coming from Kampala, like you go from Nankulabye, Namungona, Kasubi, and
Um,
then
now,
Nansana, and then Wakiso. So
yes,
I
yes.
I knew the whole road because I used to work in Kampala. I worked in Majestic Plaza for a while, for a little bit. We worked there for a long time. And then I would go back and forth in Wakiso. So you're 21 years old. Did you ever go to school, like high school?
I tried, but it did not go well.
Yeah.
But with time, I've kept on wanting to go back, and
Mm-hmm.
whenever I can, I really go back. But
Yeah.
my education level is like senior 4, and I've just added on that one of Swangs Avenue, the certificate.
Okay, that's really good. I would say your English is pretty good for somebody who didn't finish like their school. Like you have a conversation, like to even hold a conversation and just interview and stuff like that. That's pretty good. And I know like when opportunity comes, like you'll be able to add on to that. And but yeah, I'm really proud of the things you've done and the things you've achieved. So I saw your bracelet says "I love Jesus." I think that's what it says. The bracelet you have on the hand that says I love Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, what does that mean to you and why do you have it on your hand?
I have this one because in our childhood, we've gone through a lot. And if you know people around Kasubi, Kawala,
Mm-hmm.
Namboise, I think it's to me, where to me it's a good place. But
Mm-hmm.
people who don't know about it, they always say it's like a danger zone.
Yeah.
But for us who have really grown up from the communities around, we're okay with it and we're trying to put change in place.
Okay.
So the reason why I have this one on my hand, because I almost lost my life before I had no Christ, but ever since I found Christ, he's like the catalyst in each and everything I'm doing.
That means a
Yeah.
lot. That's really deep, man. I'm glad you share that. Those are some of the stories I like to hear, like people speak about things like that. And I know on your Instagram you say, "Call me the ghetto boy, church boy, making Christ international." Mpola mpola tujja kutuuka. That's
Yes.
really good, man. And like for the people, I know my listeners, most of my listeners from the United States and some of my listeners from different countries in Africa, they don't know when you say Kasubi, Namungwana, Nankulabye, like those places, like they know like Ghetto and but some people think of it as Banji, like things like that, you know. But when you talk about you grew up there and to see you today just sitting down and just say, hey, I almost lost my life when I didn't have Christ, and now that I have Christ, that means a lot to me who actually knows the area, and to the my Ugandan friends who are going to listen to this, they'll understand because they know what exactly you're talking about. Like to come out of that place and be who you are right now, it's not easy. So when did you decide that you wanted to do music?
I decided that I want to do music. I think that we were falling into the COVID thing, because by that time I was still working in Kampala, but I had no time for studio because I used to work and leave work so late. But when COVID came, then I decided, because there was much time and room for me to visit the studio, and we had nothing to do at home. So I decided to visit the studio and I recorded a song called, it was my first song was about COVID,
Mm-hmm.
uh, not on my YouTube, but it was about COVID, and like letting people know how we can like avoid it and we can live with it without losing our lives.
Mm-hmm.
The song is on here, but it was like Nsobedwa Nange. I did it with a brother, but he's not here. He's in Kasubi now. So we did it, and after we took it back into our community, and by that time there was loudspeakers, as because we were going into the elections. Speakers were everywhere. I shared it with a brother, and the brother shared it. So that's how it was like moving onto those
Mm-hmm.
speaker community, and people loved it because they didn't expect that from me. So I was like, I have to visit the studio back and do more
Mm-hmm.
music.
Yeah.
But when we went back, it was like a duo before, because a brother called Emmanuel was like he had an idea about music more than me. So we visited the studio back, and he wanted to do a love song. So I was like, let me just jump on it. So the song was in Kumi Singeno Mukwano Go Kumi Singeno Mukwano Go. So when we did the song, I was like, this is not what I want. So I told him, how do you see when we do something like a gospel song or music which can reach more people with a message and changing lives? So I told him about it, but I think he did not really like or buy the idea. So the next day I went to the studio alone and trying to create my magic, so that by the time he comes, he listens to the idea which I told him about. I called him when I've created the chorus, but he did not like it. So I told my producer, let me finish this song and put the song out. And the song is called My Story. When I released it, it was good and people loved it. That
Did your friend ever like the song, or he never did? Like your brother, the brother.
he loved it because it was like different.
Mm-hmm.
It only had a message to the people, to the youths, to people all over the world, not only in our country or community, but it had an extra message to people, the kids, the elders,
Mm-hmm.
and all people worldwide.
That's nice, man. That's really nice that you sound like a person who knows what you want. And like when you say, "Hey, I want to do songs that impact people's lives and change lives," because you want to do something like not just to sing, because most of the musicians nowadays or some musicians will just sing just to make a beat or just to make us, but you want to do a song to change somebody's life. Like when you said you did a song for COVID to just sensitize people about COVID and just helping them to protect their lives. And when you sing about a gospel music to remind people about Christ's hope and just help them go through their lives. You also mentioned that you asked me if I knew Jesse Tennis. How did you meet Jesse Tennis and how do you know him?
I met Jesse 10 years on Instagram, and actually he's the number one gospel artist now here in Uganda. When you talk of international music, he's leading.
That's amazing. I've had him on the podcast too, and we were talking about that. Mhm.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that podcast as well. So I met him when he came in Uganda. There's a brother of mine called Alan Drake Promotion who connected me to him, so that we get to talk and know more each other.
Mhm.
So I met him, and he's such a welcoming person, to my surprise, according to my community, this is like testimonies meeting Jesse Tenius. It is a testimony to me because I didn't expect like meeting people who have like visited America and still come back here in Uganda. I didn't believe it, but God did it. So it's
That's amazing,
on
man.
and God willing, soon and very soon we shall put out something. Me and Jesse 10 years.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I listen to just his songs. I have them on my Spotify. And when he was on the show, just talking about his music and his story too, because you talked about the areas of Nankulabi and Namungonak, but Jesse grew up in Machi, India. I don't know if you knew that about him. Like he was in the ghettos of Machi, India, the Jayakurira, and God has used him to like just change his life and just do music to impact um other people's lives. And I tell Jesse all the time there's a song he did um that really changed my life. It's called I Remember. I don't know if you know that song of him. I remember. If you that song, I listened to it, and he just tells his story like he remembers where God got him from and all that. And that's the same way. Like I remember, and I'm a person who loves music, and you will notice that on my podcast, I think I've had a lot of musicians than any other person. Like people come here talk about music. I had that guy. I don't know if you know Bukachimi. Uh,
Yeah, I know Bukachimia. I've seen Quakes, the record doctor there.
Quex, the Wicked Doctor was on here. I don't remember who else was on. Jesse was on here, and now you. I have
Yeah.
another episode coming out from another lady who is a musician. She does like gospel music too. I recorded with her. So I really love music and I love to know stories about you guys who do music. And I'm excited that I got to host you here and you share that. But I want to go back real quick because I know I distracted you when you were finishing up your challenges of music, or the reason why you at one time you felt like you even mentioned like you stopped doing music right now because of some of the challenges you're going to. So I know you shared about the your song that the producer tried to uh, cheat with or take your money and not do the video, and then you mentioned about the Swangs Avenue. Um, so where are you with that? Like, what are you thinking now, and what's the way forward from all those challenges? What are you thinking?
Challenges always come into our lives, and we ourselves we are here always to do challenge those challenges. So when I got that challenge, I decided to find ways of solving that. So I visited Swangs Avenue, and by that time I had a friend of mine who was in America. He was helping me, like supporting me, like he helped me with the studies in secondary. And now when I told him about it, he was interested. You know, I told you when I went to Swangs Avenue on Sunday, the class was starting on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back on my phone and I contacted him. I told him that, uh, you know, I did not get school. I did not do study a lot as people, as like other people. Like, so stopping senior four is not the best on here in Uganda, because there is senior six, there's that time of the university. So he was interested in it, seeing me loving to join the academy. So
Mm-hmm.
when I talked about it, he loved it, and on spot he sent me the funds. He sent me half of the funds, and I thank God for that. So the following day on Monday, I went and paid, because I had that much pain on me, you know, paying for the services, and I don't receive it. So I decided to go and learn how to do it, and that's what I paid for. But uh, what I paid for, I got more than what I paid for, because I went to the academy where there is people that really do inspire me, meeting Benon, meeting Julius Chaze. It was my first time even meeting Azawi.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of stuff I got in my mind. Some wasn't taught, but I really saw it with my eyes and put it into my mind.
That is really good, man. Like you shared that, and it's like from the bottom of my head, I could see, I could hear it. You know, some people like you know what you want and you want the opportunity, but sometimes challenges hesitate you from getting the opportunity you want. But you sharing that you got even more than what you were looking for, that's amazing. And you told me that you lost connection with that sponsor. Is it Like you no longer hear from him?
Yeah, I lost connection. He was out there in America, but it has taken it has taken like a month now, because I last talked to him when he paid my last fees. And now, because he's the one who has helped me, supported me, because nobody knew about me, some stuff about my life is a bit emotional, and I would like to go deep into it, because growing up, you like as a kid, but I grew up fast because I was the only person to take care of my life, and I was responsible for me as me.
And I could definitely feel it, and I understand when you say some of your story life it's a bit emotional, which I could tell. Anybody who has been listening, they can just tell what you're talking about, and feel it. I don't want to make you go through all that, which people can understand what you've talked about. They can feel it, they can hear it, and I hope like whoever listens to my podcast and ever has any ideas anyway. I know you've not asked for it, but if anybody has any way they can give you a hand in supporting your dream and helping you like continue and finish that dream, that's what I would pray for and I would hope for. And I feel like whoever listens to my podcast, I don't know who will listen to your story and get touched with it and see what you've done. You blessed me too, like just listening to you, man. I didn't know what to expect because I just told you, hey, I'm gonna have you on my podcast, and I didn't plan anything, write anything, any question. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just sit down and talk to this guy, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do with you. And just I didn't schedule any questions I'm gonna ask you, and that's how we just say this podcast and just talk through. And this is a conversation that I like, and I feel like a lot of people can listen to you and learn something from what you just say today. What is a life lesson you've learned in life today? What's something you've learned in life through what you've gone through? What could you sit here and say, hey man, I've learned this in life?
Well, I've learned like not to give up on myself, because from day one, it's been me and God, because when you call on God and let it be in each and every situation you are in, when you pray, you really do answer your prayers. And there are people who have always been coming out to me, not the rich people, not the big people in the country, but those few people from different communities, receiving messages and calls, people telling you how they feel and how music has touched and changed their lives. It's something which really makes me feel happy and like to do not stop, because when someone comes to you and tells you, you did this song and I have all your music in my phone, but your music has a good message and speaks about the goodness of God. So I was like, if I'm stopped now, then they gonna also stop enjoying my music and getting the message. So
Mm-hmm.
that keeps me motivated and moving. So I decided to leave that, the guy who took the money, and focus on and get back to do music. I have a lot of music here. Some is mastered. I have like right now I got like 20 songs on here,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem or the challenge I'm facing is like the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
When I did Swangs Avenue, I tried my best to talk to them. I wanted what I wanted deep in my heart was like if I could get into Swangs Avenue, although like being like a backup artist in there,
Right.
like being Swangs Avenue, I think here in Uganda is every artist's dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
Like being there, let it you be an artist there, let it be a backup artist there, because it's the only record label we have on here. And I thank
Right.
God we go there and see those people, how they do things, what they do and how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've decided not to stop. I've kept writing music, and I do write music for myself and record. Maybe when an opportunity comes, and because the person who has been helping me with the visuals, he helped me like some helped me get all this stuff, and some people really do donated for other people out there in my community, the little kids with the books and
Mhm.
stuff. So, and we no longer hear from him. So we pray that God really brings him back, or we
Or
pray
bring
that
somebody
everything
else.
on his side, or maybe God helps us bring some people out there who could really like to help, not only me or not only my community, but our people out there having the challenges I'm facing as a youth, or other people going through difficulties in their lives. We pray that God brings some people or connect them with people and put change into their lives so that they can also put change into others' lives.
That's amazing, man. I'm so glad you shared that at the end and just speaking your heart out and just making the prayer to God. And I'm behind you with that. And I pray that God will bring somebody and make everything like happen for you and your community and everybody, like you said, who is going through the same challenges you're going through. Um, the other question is, what gets you excited about life?
What makes me excited about life is that I'm alive, but I've never been excited.
Yeah. What do
Yeah,
you say you've never been excited?
cause like I feel like I've never been happy in my life.
Okay.
I still need to do more. Like I see a lot of stuff going on here.
Hmm.
Cause most of the people, the bitter truth is like most of the people here are facing a lot of challenges. Not only me, that's what I say. It's not only about me, whereby your fellow youths are out there riding a border for the boss, but the boss wants all the money you've made a day, and the police is arresting you on your border, taking your border. So there is no way you can be happy, because seeing my fellow people in my community treated so bad, there is no way you can be happy.
That's that's
A
deep.
lot of uh, yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and like I myself been trying to put change in place. Like the person who was helping me, however little he used to help me with, I used to share back with the people in my community. There is a little kids, there are a lot of widows, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, facing difficulties with rent
Yeah,
and
man.
surviving. Whereby here now in Uganda, like food is our daily battle.
You
So
you
and
just spoke everything that was on my heart and just I keep telling people and just getting somebody like you who can just lay it out for the people to understand like even food is a daily battle like the way you put it. That's sad. But again, my prayers are with that. And then my final question is gonna be who would you like to see on my podcast next as a guest? And you're gonna help me find this person. It can be anybody. Like, which person would you want to see on the podcast?
in our country,
Yeah, in Uganda, but you're gonna help me find the person. So if you recommend a celebrity, you're gonna have to connect me to the celebrity if I don't know them, like if I can't get to them.
well, there's a lot of people, uh, I wanted maybe to have you. I wanted you to have Pastor Gembe.
I have Pastor Gambo on here. He has an episode on here.
Oh, sorry.
No, you
Uh,
could. I have Pastor Gambo.
but
But
I had
if you uh-huh.
connection with him right now, because I'm still a struggling artist, and I'll just see him from far.
Mhm.
Uh,
I can help you get some connections to Pastor Bugembe. I know a lot of people who know him, so I can do that for you. But anyway, if you can't think of anybody right now, we will. You have my number. You have my. You can just shoot me a text when you find something, and then we will get them on the podcast. My session is about to close, but I've had so much fun having you in the podcast, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for also having me here for this platform and letting me share my story and other people's story in my community, country, and different sides of the world. It was nice being here. You pray that God blesses you and you always pick the right and learn from what people are sharing on here. Uh, from these stories, you may pick up something interesting. You may like to do something or help someone according to their stories.
Right.
Me, as I, for now, I'm not hearing from my person who used to help us education and doing music. But we pray that God blesses us and brings someone to do stand with us. My community, my people, I have a lot of people on my back on here. They are not seen, but they're on here.
Yeah.
The little kids out there in my community, the widows, the elders, and my fellow youths, because I really do encourage them, motivate them. So whenever they see me going every day, they are also motivated to do more so that they move a step ahead day by day.
All right. Yeah. Thanks
Yeah,
very much. Thank you for being here. So catch you soon. Thanks, brother.
yeah. Have a blessed day. It's evening on here. See
Hmm.
you.
See ya. Hey there, my name is Bani Kibuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for listening and watching my podcast. Tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. for a new episode on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share, and we appreciate it. If you can, leave a feedback on our podcast, please. Thank you very much.